I'm sure first and foremost your thoughts today will be of Lee McNulty.
Yeah, obviously Lee was with us last season, a great lad, great professional. Unfortunately, when he came in, he got a knee injury, and he only sort of come back near the end. And as I said, he played in the semi-final of the playoff, and I thought he was excellent. But he's a top bloke. He's a good pro, and to be honest, yeah, they were 4-0 up when it happened, and literally about 2 minutes before it, I actually turned around to the staff and said, Lee McNulty's been the best player in the pitch today. It's just the way fate happens and what happens in football. You go from being the best player in the pitch to all of a sudden lying there with a broken ankle, and I think it showed today as well how well he was thought of as well by the Carrick players and our own players. Whenever it happened, how quickly everybody was around him and they wanted the game stopped. And obviously whenever he was lying there, all the players were over with him. I think all our staff was over with him. I think that shows you the type of person that he is, and how much he was thought of by everybody on here as well. As I said, only for the situation that we had signed the three boys in pre-contracts in January, the three centre halves. Lee would have been certainly somebody I would have kept on at the football club, but unfortunately there wasn't enough in the budget to keep an extra one on. But certainly whenever we knew that we couldn't, I phoned around a lot of clubs and recommended him, because I thought he was excellent when he was here in terms of professionalism and as a footballer as well. And today I think he proved that today, and I'm just absolutely gutted for him, as is the players in there. They're all gutted for Lee. Result today is one thing, but certainly there's more important things in life sometimes than results. And you see somebody have a bad injury like that there, that comes to the forefront, and I'm still sort of shaking myself by it, because you don't want to see anybody, especially somebody who's played for you, anybody in that scenario. And as I say, hopefully it is a broken ankle and it's not any more serious that's going to keep him out for any longer. We always look for positives in life. If there's any positive, I thought it was a cruciate when he first went down, but thankfully it looks to be more his ankle, and hopefully that'll not keep him out of the game as long, and he gets back to playing football and does what he loves very, very quickly.
Obviously the game was abandoned. Would you agree with that decision to abandon the game?
Listen, I wasn't any part of that, because as I say, it was the players. I think James Singleton suffered a very similar injury here playing for Northern Ireland under-21s, and he was one of the first boys on the scene when it happened, and the likes of him in there and a couple of other players were obviously, Lee was very well thought of in the change room. So whenever they seen it was one of their ex-teammates lying there, I think it had an emotional effect on the players as well, and a psychological effect, and they didn't feel like finishing the game. That's how they come to the season. I was obviously with Lee at the time, and whenever the referee called me and Sturdy, but again, when it comes to it, even if it was in the situation where we were 4-0 up, obviously you want the result and everything else, but sometimes in life things are more important than a result, and that was my main concern today. If the players decided that they didn't want to take the pitch again, that's their decision. I can only support them on that, and as I say, but before that, Carrick were much superior to us today, and it's baffling because we went to Portadown and played so well, should have won the game. Attitude, desire, hunger was there in abundance. We go last week to Warren Point, again similar, really, really good performance, scored 6 goals, and then you come here today and it's the first home game of the season, and you've got a good crowd in, and you put in a performance like that. It's, to be honest, I'm lost for words with it, because I don't know how it can happen. I preached them before the game, and Carrick come here twice last year and drew with us. We need to be switched on. We need to have the same effort, commitment that we've had over the last couple of weeks. And then you go out and we perform the way we performed, and we offered nothing to the game today, nowhere. I said at half time there's only 2 players that played today in the first half, and that was Daggy and Nets and Fitzy up front, and the other 9 players didn't turn up, and that's worrying. It's certainly worrying for me. I'd be more worried if I was the players, but they can go and put in a performance like they did against Warren Point and Portadown, and then turn around in front of your home support in your first home game of the season and play like that. Hopefully that's a lesson learnt today, and that doesn't happen again, because certainly that is nowhere near acceptable for this football club. I've said it before, we've been down at Windsor and got beat 7 and 8 or whatever it was, and but Ribsy was sent off in that game early, after 2 or 3-0 up, and it's difficult because you're playing basically a full half, 3-0 down and 4-0 down, and it just capitulates. But certainly today we had 11 men when we went in at half time, had a good chat with them and told them that it wasn't acceptable, and then we go out straight from the kick-off and we've seen it. One pass back, slice pass, Wardy mishits it back to Daggy then does a bad kick, and just set the tone for the whole second half again and again. I scored another couple of goals, you know, and the worrying thing for me today as well. And you know, all the chances we created against Portadown and Warren Point today, we played for 70 minutes and didn't work our goalkeeper once.
Quick turnaround, guy, for Tuesday night in the League Cup. Port Stewart coming up here. Will you take a different approach in terms of your selection? Will you put your strongest team, or it's too early to say?
Well, listen, there was going to be changes anyway, but certainly after our performance today, there definitely will be changes. That's not acceptable, and there will be changes next week as well. There's no point in saying otherwise, because you can't put in performance like that and not accept or expect to be in the team the next week, because you have to perform week in, week out. And as I said, if next week I could change 9, because that's the way I felt today. I felt there was 9 players didn't turn up, but you know, it's up to them on Tuesday night and over training next week to change my mind on who I go with next Saturday.